Okay, we are back. My favorite part of the week when I'm doing an intro for a new episode. Welcome back to Adventures in Adversity. This is a podcast about real people, true stories, and really just daily inspiration to help all of us, myself included, get through life's adversity in many, many forms, right? We all have different forms of adversity. So I would like to welcome my very, very esteemed guest, who I was just chatting with, and I'm super stoked to be talking to, Steve Knapp. Thank you so
I
much for being here.
I am super stoked to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's been neat just connecting over Instagram and kind of
Yeah.
watching your content and seeing what's up and I'm excited to be here and I'm
Yeah.
really excited to be invited to join you.
Well, it's the wonderful world of connecting in this podcasting world with people who are telling their stories. And I
Hmm.
don't even know how we got connected. Maybe like through a post. And then I remember looking at your profile and being like, okay, yeah, following him for sure. Like it's just cool how these you
Hmm.
tell a story or something comes in your feed through telling a story or hearing a story, and then you connect with somebody who, and then you hopefully help more people. You know,
Hopefully it's
um,
the gift that keeps on giving.
I think it is, and I think we were chatting right before we hit record, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a good one. I mean, you just feel I love every guest, but I think your authenticity. I think people are going to get a lot from this, um, just chatting. So let me introduce you now. Another favorite part. You are like reading about people while they just listen. You are an adventurer, a podcaster, and an alcohol addiction recovery coach. Super
Hmm.
amazing. You are, is it 4.5 years sober?
4.5 years sober, just over 4.5 years sober, but who's counting?
Hey, congratulations on
Yeah.
that. That's
Yep.
awesome. You are loving and living the sober life. I'm just
Uh,
looking here.
Loving and absolutely loving and living the sobered life for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, to the point now where I entirely believe that anybody that is in recovery can actually be recovered. I believe you can get fully go fully
Okay.
from addiction to not needing to escape your life at all, not even having the want to do that.
Oh, so you can go from like trying to resist the urge to drink to like really just not wanting to,
Yeah, I believe entirely that
enjoying
you
your
can
life.
go from that you can rebuild those habits and the thought
Yeah.
pathways to the point of it's just not a thing I do anymore.
That's cool.
I don't experience today, like I don't experience a craving. I don't experience this need to go and have a drink. I don't experience this I don't struggle to not use a substance. It's not That's not part of my
Oh,
life. It doesn't exist. Like I don't. I'll walk through the grocery store and I will see my old habit on the wall.
sure.
It's there. It exists, but it's not something that I live in fear of. I think you can get to the point where, and this is the way I describe this, and this is interesting how this is where we ended up already. But I think
Yeah,
you
we're
can
like
get,
just going right in.
yeah, I think you can get to the point. Like the best way I can describe this is I don't jump off bridges. It's not something I do. I don't drink. It's not something I do. Like the result essentially is probably close to the same. If I was to go and do that, then I have a lot of past experience in my life of how that doesn't work out very well. Now, if I jump off a bridge, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Mhm.
I don't need to live my life in fear of jumping off a bridge. That's not something I do. I don't need to live my life in fear of what alcohol might do to me if I drink it.
Mm.
I have enough past experience that tells me that's not something I need to do anymore. So I don't need to live in that fear. So I just don't.
I love that. That's actually, as you were saying that, uh, a beautiful, like literally outside the window, a beautiful blue jay just like landed. And there was like the sun was shining. I was like, again, what we just talked about, I've never thought about it that way before, about substances and drinking. And with my own relationship with alcohol, I have two friends in recovery right now
Hmm.
who, like, actively, they're doing great, but I like to know how to best support them too. I've never ever heard someone describe it that way.
You have an emotional attachment to
Oh, the
to
habit.
yeah, to the habit, to the thing, to might even be the identity that you have that supports that belief.
Mm,
So if that belief doesn't serve me anymore and I can see it,
yeah,
then I have the opportunity to do something different.
that's a really cool way to think about it. And I'm sure in your 4.5 year journey, you didn't learn that on day one of recovery, did
Oh
you?
no. Oh
I'm
no.
like, wow.
Oh
And I'm
no.
sure anyone listening is like, how do I get like him? If if you're struggling with alcohol or anything that you have this addiction to,
Yeah, I
right?
think a lot of it starts if we were to ask me to go back and like
Yeah.
what
Let's
was one of the super key things is self-awareness. I wasn't entirely like when I was in my drinking days, I would say that I wasn't the most self-aware person, at least self-reflective person.
mm,
So one of the things that I learned early on, because I never really talked about any of the hard things. Those things were the things I was ashamed of. Those were the things that I was guilty of holding on to, guilty of doing.
mhm,
And if I talked about those, I made those real. And then I would
mhm,
actually have to suffer the consequences of it. Whereas if I didn't talk about any of those, then the consequences, I mean, I still carried those in my emotional backpack because I know they existed. But I don't have to deal with them directly. Everything is an indirect consequence of me avoiding the thing that I needed to do. So I would say like self-reflection and just talking about the stuff. Like I remember early on when I started saying the words that would burn when they came out of my mouth. Thank you, Andy Grammer, for that one.
mm,
It's in one of his songs. The
mhm.
words that burn when they come out
I
of your
love
mouth.
Andy Grammer.
Yeah,
Great.
and that just that one line is so true because when it
Yeah.
stings, when it like you're stuttering to get those words out, they're so covered in shame, but the relief after is second to none. And then so like early on, and I remember early on in my recovery, and I started out in AA. That's all I knew
Mhm.
existed. That's all I
Yeah.
knew that was there. Uh, saying those words was so freeing that it almost got addicting all on its own. Like the weight
The
continually like washing over and understanding, and not even knowing that that's what the work is. The work is removing the next layer. It's essentially what it is, one way or another, no matter how you do it. If I
so weird.
can begin to tell the truth and live in honesty, one way or another, I'm going to find the next version of the cycle, the next version that I need to reiterate to see what I needed to change next.
Hmm. That, again, very easy for my brain to. There's two things that you said in that, and then I want to go back and start from the beginning,
Hmm.
because we're just giving a taste of what's coming. Like, this is really good stuff. Emotional backpack.
Yeah,
Oh,
I love
oh
it.
my
That
gosh,
was
we all have one.
uh huh.
Holy shit! Sorry, I was just like, okay, yeah. How heavy is yours? And have you opened it lately? Oh
Right.
my god.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Emotional.
We're going to go into that. We're going to unpack that emotional backpack.
I love it.
You
Yes,
have
we
to,
can.
Russ. You're going to carry it one way. Either you're going to carry it or you're going to unpack it.
Hmm. You don't have to unpack it all at once.
Because you might die if you unpack it all. It'll be a lot to
You're just not
unpack
going
at
to
once.
know how to deal with it all.
It's too
You're
much.
just you're just not going to know. Right? You can
So you
bear your soul out there. It doesn't matter. It's still going to be all over the floor. Like you can't just clean it up. You can empty it. You can dump it all over the floor, but you're going to be walking past all of that stuff for a while until you figure out where to put it.
oh my gosh. That is a really good analogy. So rather than take it all out, just take it out one by one.
Even if you spread it on the floor, that's fine. Recovery is messy. Emotional healing is messy. Spread
Mm.
it out on the floor as long as you can find a safe place to put it. I remember I was trying to figure out how
You're
to
blowing
put
my
like
mind right now.
an
Sorry.
analogy behind all of this sort of stuff, and it's like you've done your laundry and you haven't put it away, right? Or you and and so you have like your clothes on your bed and you walk past it all of the time, and then you
Yes.
move it over to the floor because you want to go to sleep, and you still have the mess. You're just putting it in a different place, and every time you walk by it you see that mess, but you haven't
Yep.
dealt with it yet. You've just moved it, right?
Oh my
That's the
gosh.
same thing as all of the unhealthy cycles that we go through. We see it again and we see it again and we see it again until we do something different with it. I'm going to pick up my laundry, I'm going to fold it, I'm going to put it where it belongs.
Mm. Yep. And you can do it. You just avoid it because it's seemingly painful. Because
It's
it's
seemingly painful. That's the thing.
seemingly
It's
painful.
seemingly painful.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Why did I avoid that for so long? Or that
Mhm.
sucked, but at least it's done. Like,
Seriously, cause the nastiest cause of my own suffering is myself,
oh,
and how I avoided the many things that were facing a reflection of me I didn't want to have to see.
mm, wow. Okay, with that, take me back. Take me back to the beginning. I notice an accent. Are you by chance Canadian?
Correct. I am by
Yes.
chance Canadian.
Yes. You know why?
You nailed it.
I
Well
love
done.
Canadian people. I just hung out with I call my really dear friend Jade. She's amazing from Edmonton. I call her Coach Canada. She's one of my besties.
Amazing.
I tell her, I'm like, I prefer Canadians over Americans, right? I'm kidding. Like, no, I just like Canadians are my homies. So love it. What part of Canada
Awesome.
are you from?
Ontario.
Okay, cool.
So right kind of on the Michigan border,
Nice.
just outside of like Detroit, Port Huron area, southwestern Ontario.
Nice.
So kind
Okay.
of born and raised in basically southwestern Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah.
So take me through little Steve's life. Where was little Steve? Just
Little
going through elementary school and living
little
life?
Steve moved around a lot. So
Okay.
my dad, being just for work, moved to northern Ontario, and then moved to a suburb of Toronto, and then a different town. So we moved a whole bunch of times. So we I changed schools often. I guess that's what that comes down to.
That's
So
hard.
like um I was the social kid. I was the social butterfly of the two. I have a sister as well. And so
Uh-huh.
I was the one who I guess my parents didn't worry about too often because I would just go and make new friends and
Yeah.
figure it out
Yep.
and have try and make the best of it, whatever
Yeah.
way that
Okay.
that was. And so the downfall of moving around a lot is you never really maintain any friendships for a significant period of time. Uh,
Yeah.
so that made me a pretty social person, though.
You could adapt very quickly to social situations, right?
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to, I vividly remember when I was younger, especially after growing up just a little bit, was wanting to be liked. And so I remember lying and telling like these blatantly big stories to try and be cool. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And those never worked out because nobody actually believed them, but then I stood on them even harder.
You're like,
Like, of course I did. How dare you think that I was lying, even though I was? So, anyways, yeah, fairly normal growing up. Like, I played hockey
okay,
as a kid because in Canada you're born with skates on,
of course.
right?
Oh,
I
go
think that's
Oilers.
fact. I mean, I'm in Colorado right now
Yeah.
because I'm in school. I went back to school, but
Okay.
we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I had a pretty decent upbringing. There was no
Uh-huh.
like big traumas. There was no
Okay.
uh,
No, right.
fairly average, fairly normal working class family.
Uh-huh.
My dad a millwright, my mom working at like a license office.
Yeah.
That there was nothing big
Living
extravagant. I
life.
had everything that I needed. Uh, so
Mm-hmm.
like
Okay.
I really don't have much for complaints there. But
Yeah.
even if you have this like a normal regular kind of upbringing, you still carry things with you
And
that
that,
didn't work out right, that moments where you weren't uh, emotionally acknowledged, and then the story you create out of that feels like lack of support, right? Like it doesn't have to be a big T, small T. Trauma right now is a very, very buzzword type of
yeah,
thing.
totally. Totally.
And I don't have, if you would call it, big T's.
Uh-huh.
If you fill out like that questionnaire about whether you have all of these things, I fall very low on that list. Although I resorted to alcohol later on in my 20s. When I was
Mm-hmm.
15 years old, yeah, I was 15 years old. But before that, I was also like the kid that stood out in school because I had childhood epilepsy. So I was the weird one. I would have a seizure in the middle of class, and my head would
Oh
go to
my
the side,
gosh.
and like it would last for about 30 to 40 seconds, and then I was normal again. Like I could literally have a conversation with you during an episode, just a little minor seizure. It happened when I played hockey. It would, but I just dealt with it.
Wow. From what age?
I think 8 or 9.
Okay,
And
I'm gonna
then
say that's big T for me, for you. That's
that's it.
pretty
You're probably right. It
okay, because I
doesn't
was like,
feel like,
you're humble, but like that's pretty significant to go through.
yeah, it is. If there's the one thing that probably made me stand out
Yeah.
in front of the other. I remember riding my bike to school one morning, and I rode my bike with a friend, and I had a seizure while riding my bike, and I drove into the side of a vehicle and flew
Oh,
over the
no.
backside of it, landing on the grass between the road and the sidewalk.
Uh-huh.
And I remember all the kids laughing at me at the bus
Oh,
stop that saw me. And then my buddy, I was like, just go to school. And I cried all my way home. Like,
oh my
that's like one of
god.
those memories you have as a child
Yeah.
that you never forget.
Oh,
But
yeah.
uh,
It's in the emotional backpack,
it, it,
right?
it, it, it
It's like
carries it.
goes
Yeah.
in there. And that's not every kid has to deal with that, like the physical condition and then the resulting social, you know. Let me ask you this. Did you find moments where there were kids who were really kind to you during any of those episodes? Or was
Oh,
it like
yeah.
that? See, I always love finding that. Like, you're like, the typical like mean kid, and then you're like, wait, but wasn't there like one or two nice kids?
There's always someone
Yeah,
that seems to have
like
a level of care, or just didn't care about that at all. Like
that's
I still
nice.
had friends
That's
that
great.
that
And not
that
to minimize,
yeah,
not
no,
to
absolutely.
minimize. I just find it like refreshing when you hear like, yeah, but then you have that one. You're like, there is good. There's
Yeah,
still
my
good.
buddy was gonna that I was riding my bike with wanted to come back with me. Like I ended up almost
Oh,
getting in trouble for sending him to school because I didn't want him to get in trouble, right? But
oh,
he was gonna
he was
come
a good
back home with
buddy.
me and hang out and do all of the right things. Like,
Hey, I'm gonna
um,
shout out to your buddy that day.
mhm.
That's good. That's cool. Like
Yeah.
that's how I would
So,
hope my kid would do that.
mhm.
But
And
anyway,
then
continue.
So at the age of 15, I'm 43, to put that into
Me
context.
too.
So are you? Do you turn
Yeah.
44 at the end of the year, or did you turn 43
I
this
turned
year?
44 in December.
When?
Don't say 7th.
No, I'll say the 28th.
Okay. What if we had the same? Okay.
Oh,
So we're basically the same. We basically have been alive for the same time
yeah,
period of life.
minus 21 days.
We've breathed the same atmosphere for okay,
Basically
cool.
our entire lives,
We're
correct.
aligned.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Welcome to 44 in
we
December. We're
we
coming
were
up to it.
we were in our mom's bellies at the same time.
Pretty much
Cool. All
the
right.
entire time. You're just slightly
Weird.
older than me.
True. Older, not wiser. That's
I
for
don't
sure.
know. You never know about that.
We're both podcasters, so we think we're very wise, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's go with that. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
anything.
I don't know anything either. It's great.
Excellent.
That's why I have other people come on and make me look smart. Cool.
It works.
Okay.
So,
Go.
uh,
So,
when I was 15, it was the summer. My neurologist decided that he was gonna wean me off the medication that I was taking to stop me
mm,
from having seizures, which worked.
okay.
And then because I hadn't had one in a while, and then so I basically weaned right off the medication, and then like a couple days later, I had 3 ground mal seizures in one day. So there's the tea. Now that we talk
Yeah,
about
there it
it,
is. When you're
uh,
15.
three in one day. I remember having all three of them. I remember passing out each time. I remember getting in the car and my dad driving me to the hospital after I had the third one in the car. And I don't know. I think I stayed I was out like a light in the hospital for like the next day and a half. Like I didn't even wake up. I was so exhausted from it all. Uh, I remember waking up, doctor putting me back on the medication, and then when you
Mhm.
turn 16 in Ontario, you can go ahead and get your license. And I was terrified to
Oh,
take. I was
yeah.
terrified to take the test because what if I had another seizure and I killed someone? That was the story I was telling myself. Like
Oh,
imagine I'm driving down the road and then having another seizure that was like that, where I have absolutely no control over my body at all,
it's terrifying.
and then like I could kill myself, I could kill someone, I could like it was that was scary. Anyways,
Ooh. So,
fast
so
forward
did you
to
work? Yeah.
fast
Did you
forward
work?
to like when I was 20 in my 20s, because I hadn't even had a drink really until I was about 20 years old,
Uh-huh.
because the I was my mom had the fear of God instilled in me that if I had a drink while taking the medication, because and I mean she was right,
Yeah.
drinking and on the medication is not good. That you have the
No.
potential of having another one of those. Like that's what sits in the back of your mind. Except for you go 4 years, 5 years without having one, and
You're like, it's
then
fine.
you start hanging out with some people from work, and they're having a party, and you want to fit in, and you want to start trying to belong, and then have a couple of drinks, and you know what, this isn't that bad. I'm also not suffering any ill effects from this, and I'm also not having any seizures. So just kind of carried on.
Uh-huh.
Drink with the buddies, drink now golfing, drink here, drink there, social
Yeah.
lubricant. Now I get to, be a little bit more boisterous and all the rest of those things, and actually have the courage to maybe go and talk to a girl, or
Yeah.
uh, dance at a bar, those sorts of things.
Take
And
the
then
edge
just
off.
be kind of a little bit extra crazy and a little bit extra loud. And anyways, a year went by, and I hadn't had a seizure at all. I hadn't really taken any medication. So I went and made an appointment with my doctor, and I was like, I really need to have a conversation. Like, what should I do about this? Not the drinking part.
But that's
I
smart.
never
You're
talked
like,
about that part. All I did was say, hey, listen, I haven't taken any medication in like a year. is what should I do? Like, should I get some more testing? Should we do whatever? And
That's
I had
smart.
started drinking a fair amount at
Hmm.
that time, like partying and just doing your
Your
20
20 somethings. Yeah.
20 something stuff.
Yep.
And the doctor was like, no, just keep doing what you're doing.
You're
That
like,
was
sweet.
like, sweet. Give me
You're
permission to
like,
keep on drinking.
thanks. Doctor said party's on.
Party, just go ahead.
Like,
That's what I was doing.
I got a doctor's note to party.
It's essentially what that
Kind of.
was.
Like, not, I mean, everything. Yeah. I
That's
guess.
the way I
Most,
took it.
yeah,
That
totally.
was the perspective I gave it.
Uh-huh. That was a story that, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
That was the
Stories are so, oh my gosh, stories. That story
Oh
that you
yeah.
tell yourself.
Hmm.
Okay.
The
So you're in
story you
your mid,
tell yourself, man.
and so you're in your mid 20s. By the way, kudos to you for even having that conversation. I don't know if every 20 something is doing that with their doctor. That's a good thing.
I didn't after that though. Like it was a good thing then, but I
Mhm.
had that like traumatizing experience when I was 15 that I didn't want to have to suffer anymore. But if a doctor told me I was probably not going to have that anymore, then I was just going to believe it.
Yes, got it. Mhm.
Right? So I
Okay.
gave the doctor the power that I should have had.
Oh, right. You were looking for like that
I got the
something to
validation
affirm,
that I
a
needed to keep
validation and
doing.
affirm.
Yeah,
Totally.
I totally got affirmed.
Give me the permission and the validation because yeah. Mhm.
It wasn't even what I was looking for, but it's
Mm.
what I got out of it.
Mm.
Because it's not always you're not always gonna get what you're looking for versus what you're gonna get out of it. Those are two different
Mm.
things.
Mm. Totally. So
So
so take yeah,
yeah, so I
continue.
mean, I meet a girl, we get married, we have kids. Uh, I have a really good job.
Mhm.
I end up getting promoted a couple of times. I end up being in charge of half the operation of a facility. Like I have a lot of responsibility,
Yeah.
kids, and the the longer I went, the more my drinking got worse and worse. So my late 20s, I was still working shift work and I would plan drinking days, drinking nights and like my drinking just got worse and worse. Not that life got much worse. Life didn't get worse. I was just not dealing with it in the way I
Mm.
should have. I also didn't know any better. Like I'll acknowledge that my level of self-awareness
Mm.
was pretty basic. My level of self-reflection even more basic. And so I mean when when did I know something was wrong?
Yeah. Cuz you were high functioning it sounds
Oh yeah, I
like a
which
high
is
functioning.
high
Like
functioning alcoholic is just bullshit.
oh,
That's
okay.
I
Tell me.
I
Tell
I
me.
think I think like
Tell me, please
that is
educate me.
that is another lie you
Is
tell
it?
yourself to
Okay.
keep
Okay.
you to keep what
But
how
like
how
not
many
all
lies do
alcohol
I need to tell myself to keep myself comfortable in this situation that I'm doing? I was great at that. I told myself I was fantastic under pressure, but I was a procrastinator.
I'm laughing because I'm such a procrastinator too.
Right, but you put
Yeah.
yourself under pressure because you
Yes.
procrastinated.
Uh-huh.
And then you go ahead and put the effort in because you needed the ridiculous pressure that you put on yourself to actually
Yep.
accomplish the task when you can completely do it in the opposite fashion, but you refuse to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So are you actually good under pressure, or do you have to put yourself under pressure to make it important?
The latter.
Because if you just made it important, you wouldn't have to put yourself under the pressure.
That is so good. Self-induced like misery.
Yeah.
When you procrastinate, you're like, why are you doing this?
Hmm.
It's cycle until you like confront what are you avoiding, right? That like discomfort of the task or the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
That discomfort feeling. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the high functioning thing, it's not you're yeah, okay. So you were
You're high
able
functioning
to keep a
anyway.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
But it
keep a job.
yeah.
I wasn't good. I wasn't doing a good job at keeping it near the end, but I mean, I was able to keep a job. I would drink on my way into work in the morning. I would drink on my lunch hour. I would go for a drive and then come back into work, and then I would drink on my way home. Like, that's how bad it got. Drinking and
Just
driving
constant.
became a
Yeah.
thing that I did, and I remember the first time that I was doing it alone in my truck, where you drive past an intersection and you're like, I can't drink here, but once I get past this intersection, I can drink there because there's no one has a chance to see me. And in the back of my mind, I know
Mhm.
it's not right,
Yeah.
but that little voice I got so good at ignoring that as I continued, whoa, look at that, I zoomed in.
That was so good. Sorry. No, it was so
Technology is amazing. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, if anyone's listening to this and can't see, if you're just all of a sudden that little voice, the camera zoomed in unexpectedly.
So this camera has some features.
I'm laughing with you. I just love technology. You're like, okay, so it felt like that was an impactful moment.
And it did.
That little voice
Wow.
became front and center.
Big. It did at some point, and I'm going to work
Yeah.
on fixing my
Yeah. No
technology issue
worries.
here.
No, but
Um
I love that you're saying that because I think anyone listening, and myself included, everyone has that little voice where you know what you should and shouldn't be doing. And you're saying you got good at ignoring it.
I
And we all
did
do that.
get good at it. Did I zoom out?
I think it's
Partially
it's
zoomed out.
partially,
I'm
but
going to go like this,
there you go.
and we'll see what happens because I'm not
It's
entirely
good.
sure.
You're good. You have a good face card, whatever the
All
kids
right.
say. Face card.
Face card. So I the the things that I used to think were wrong to do became right, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So
It does.
you slowly change your moral compass. I did, anyways. I slowly changed my moral compass, what that looked like, what uh, right and wrong were. The lines continued to blur to a point where I think the addiction makes itself more important than anything else.
Mm.
And I mean, it's still my responsibility. It's still my body. It's still my decisions. It's still the things that I dealt with. And I'm actually
Hmm.
trying to have this
Hmm.
conversation and fix my Zoom issue.
Yeah, no, but we can also pause too if you want. Just pause and then you can fix it. There we go. Oh, there we go. Zoom out. We're zooming out
We
on
are
life.
good.
It's like a metaphor for the conversation. We're zooming in on certain things and we're zooming out.
Now we're zooming out. Now we're good to go
My
again.
editor Julian had some cinematic, no. Um I think that uh, you're good now. Yes, we're all good. I think we're situated.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Thank you for
all
being
good.
so candid. I know we talked before about, ask anything, keep it real, but thank you for being so candid about that because I know for me and other listeners all over here, it's not always easy to like own and admit like when you were doing things that didn't align with like your values, or like, it sucks to admit it. Like I know I've been there where I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I did that. Like shit. And I knew it was wrong and I did it. And that's part of my recovery too from like the whole narcissistic abuse, is just being like, hey, we did that. We're not going to shame it, but we're going to own it, and we're
Hmm.
going to learn from it. Like I spent a lot of years shaming, like that moral compass was changed and all this shit. And so when you just, thank you for saying that, because it's exactly how I felt like in previous situations where I was like, wow, you're not, you didn't used to think that was okay. Like,
The
right?
shift happens so slowly, though,
Yeah. It
right?
does.
And
It's not like one day.
this is how you don't notice it.
Mm,
This is how the people in your lives don't really notice it. Because if
yeah.
something small changes every day for 2 years, then the only way you really notice it is when you go back and look at a picture. I used to weigh 215 pounds. When I go back and look at a picture, I can see what I looked like, what Steve looked like when he weighed 215 pounds. I remember telling myself, okay, I'm going to do something about my drinking when I weigh 200 pounds. And I blew past 200 pounds and it was like 205. Like I knew it was a problem, but I never wanted to stop. I smoked too. I smoked like a chimney. And a lot of the
Mm,
reasons why I smoked was the same reasons why I drank. It was a version of escape at work. I lived two very, very separate lives. I lived a work life and I lived a home life. And at home, I didn't
mm-hmm.
smoke. I drank a lot at home and I hid booze at home. And I did all of the things your typical alcoholic would
Sure.
do. I don't find that term offensive. I don't find many terms really offensive for the most part. Say say what you need to say to keep yourself comfortable, but it's all about for me. It's all about the the realness of it, the honesty of it, and I did way too many things that I wasn't proud of, drinking and driving included. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know that there were times when I was drunk that I hurt my kids. There's nothing I can do about it today other than try and live the best, most emotionally healthy life that I can, and now be an example of that today, as opposed to
Yeah.
beating myself up over it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can't lose sight of what of the example that I want to be now, as opposed to what I was.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
eventually, when you drink too much, life comes to a head more than once. And I think we either take the opportunity to make the change, or I continue to lie to myself to not face what's in the backpack. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, my drinking did an excellent job of causing unhealthy relationship between myself and my now ex.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I still remember trying to show up for my kids, but not in. I wasn't ever abusive. I'm not an angry person,
Mm-hmm.
anyways. But I made a lot of mistakes. What
Mm-hmm.
what it came down to was, and I had moments where I would be crying on the floor. I would be just a puddle, just a complete puddle. Like I remember wanting it all to stop, but not having the words to describe what that was.
Mm.
Like I just like screaming with my mouth wide open, but no sound coming out, just laying on the floor and just in tears. Like I wanted to stop, but I didn't know what it was.
Hmm.
So I carried on.
Okay.
What the straw that broke the camel's back, people call it rock bottom, and
Yeah.
those moments were worse than the moment when I decided that things were going to change, and my ex-wife found my credit card bill, and it was a Sunday, March 13th. My sobriety date is the 14th of
Mm.
2021.
Okay.
And she found my credit card bill and she looked at it and waited till the evening. So she kept it to herself. And there was 18 or 19 trips to the liquor store for the month, $900 credit card bill, all booze and cigarettes, mostly booze.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and she asked me, I was already drunk that night. She asked me, she goes, "Can you explain this?" And she gave me the way out. She gave me the option. She says, I had a friend who had an alcohol problem as well, and she asked me if I was buying booze for him.
Uh-huh.
And I
Mm.
sat there and I contemplated and I said, "Okay, I can take this way out and lie and throw my buddy under the bus and then figure out how I'm going to make this story stick like all of the other stories I told." And I had so many. I was so afraid of this person being in the same room as this person and then them having a conversation about me. And then I was going to get found out. And this was like almost all aspects of my life. Like if I could keep work at work and then keep it separate from home, then the lines wouldn't be crossed and information wouldn't get shared. And if I could keep everything all compartmentalized, then I could keep this facade that I was holding up with twigs and super glue and duct tape and everything else. Like it was a house of cards just waiting to fall apart at this
Mm.
point in time. I was
Yeah.
miserable, absolutely miserable. I never got to the point where I wanted to end my life. I didn't get that far, but uh, I turned. This was when the lie got too big to carry, and I
It's
turned
like the
around and
straps break. The straps on the backpack break, man. You just can't. You're tired of it.
I was tired of it. I was absolutely
Uh-huh.
tired of it. So I turned around to her and I said, "No, that was all me." And then she
And was
started
she
asking questions, and I started just telling the truth.
just letting it out?
The pain, the pain of all of the secrets,
Mm.
and the trying to figure out how to maintain the next one was too much. So the truth started dumping in a hurry. All of the
Mm.
questions, all of the shame, I was just, here it is. This is it. It's whatever's going to happen to me now is what's going to happen to me now.
Mhm. And in one of your clips that I watched, you talked about in your podcast the feeling too of like the actual saying it.
Oh yeah.
There's it's literally it's something it's the the weight of bearing the secrets is heavier than like the potential consequence of like the truth.
We don't know that
You don't
until
know
we
it
actually experience
until you
the
say it.
consequence of the truth. The only
Yes.
consequence of the truth that I knew was the one that I made up, because none of us can, we're all horrible predictors of the future.
Yes.
Horrible predictors of the future. I can't tell you what's going to happen half an hour from now. I could be partly accurate, but I have no freaking idea. And if I tell myself that I do, that's a crock of shit.
Mhm.
I don't know. I
Mhm.
also don't get, I also don't have the responsibility to control how someone else responds. And none of that stuff I could even be close to putting words to way back then when I was 39. None of that stuff.
Right.
I didn't have the language for it. I didn't have the emotional intelligence for it. I didn't.
Sure.
Everything was very, 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 very basic. And I think the more you get into addiction, the more basic things get because they have to.
Mm, mm.
It,
Yes. It seems like for when you talked about when you're drinking too much, there's moments where things come to a head.
mm-hmm.
And you decided in that moment with the receipt and the 19 trips, it was almost like a flicker of self awareness. It was like,
Excellent way to put that.
it was like the match was lit and now you're on fire with self-awareness and like helping, but you were like there was an awareness that goes, maybe I should tell the truth. Oh wait, I'm going to.
But how often in unhealthy relationships, because you need safety to tell the truth. So, how
Yes.
often in unhealthy relationships where you go ahead and you try and be vulnerable, even though it has nothing to do with the actual problem that you have,
Mm-hmm.
and then that vulnerability gets used against you? Where in that do you begin to feel safe enough to even tap into the shame
Mm-hmm.
that you carry, to let go of it?
Mm-hmm.
Because shame dies in the light. It dies outside of us.
It can't
We
survive.
feed it when we keep it secret.
mm, so good. Mm-hmm.
Every time I decided to not say anything, all I did was justify the fact that I didn't say anything. I
Mm-hmm.
gave that more power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and it seems like since then, like for anyone listening, that self-awareness only grows from that flicker. Like if you start to see a little bit and do the work towards like getting more, it just, at least for me too, I'm just like, ooh, I like this feeling of working on myself. This is really good, you know?
You you reap the rewards of the benefits of what you feed.
Yes.
And so I fed the shame and I fed the guilt. And so I reaped the rewards of feeding the shame and feeding the guilt. You
Mm.
don't reap freedom from feeding the shame. You don't see the other side of what that's going to look like when you give it the attention it wants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I started feeling less shame when I started telling the truth, which was weird because the consequences sucked. But I was more afraid of the consequences than I was of the relief of the shame because I didn't know what relief of shame felt like.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And so the next day,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing what the hell to do, but knowing I had to do something, I did something that people basically say I was kind of crazy. I kind of called my own intervention of some sorts. I called up my work because I was hungover as hell the next day. Talked to HR, told HR I had a problem. I that I was gonna I had a problem with alcohol and I was gonna start working on it. I sent an email to the local AA group. It was right in the middle of COVID, so there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing in person. But I sent an email to them. I still have the email to this day, and that was "It's time for me to put the bottle down." Was the title of that email, and I just wanted access to something. I had no
Mm-hmm.
clue. I
Yeah.
then called up my parents and told them I had a problem with alcohol and that I was going to get help. And this is what I said to everyone. I said, I need your help. I need your support. I don't know what that's going to look like. Like I don't know what the support is going to look like, but I'm going to need it. I have a problem and I'm going to do something about it. And so that was on a Monday. On the Wednesday, we invited her parents over for dinner. They just lived down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them in person that I have a problem with alcohol and that I'm going to need your help and I'm going to need your support, but I don't know what that's going to look like. But I'm going to get help. So I made a plan for myself. Like I told all of my immediate family, including work,
Mm-hmm.
within the first week of me being sober.
It's full honesty.
Also, what I didn't know was the amount of accountability that was going to bring.
Mm.
But it wasn't the accountability that I needed. I didn't know, but it was the honesty. It was the fact that I wasn't going to have to walk around on wondering, like all of the people that I was going to see on a fairly regular basis all knew that there was something that I was working on, and that part I wasn't afraid of. I didn't realize that this is like not something people do. I did it anyway. So I made a plan for myself to go to
Yeah.
4 meetings a week.
Okay.
So I went to 4 meetings a week, like clockwork, and there's a lot of go to 60 and 60 and whatever it was. Like there's a whole bunch. I'm 4 meetings a week because I wanted to make
Yep.
sure that I could still show up for my kids and still put them to bed and still have family time and still
Yeah.
do all of those things. I took up a hobby and that was baking bread because somebody had made the suggestion of uh, do something that you always wished you wanted to do. And I was like, I always wanted to make a loaf of bread. So I
That's amazing.
so I took up baking bread as a hobby, and that was one of the it was probably one of the silliest little things that I picked up in my early recovery that brought me peace.
Mm.
When and I This is the way I describe this. When I when I quit drinking, I lost the only thing that allowed me to operate in this world, the only way I knew how. It was it was my best friend, it was my coping mechanism, it was my medicine, it was something I did when I was happy, something I did when I was sad, it was something I did all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take that away, there is, I called it the chaos of nothingness. There's a giant emptiness that exists because of the emotional attachment that I didn't know existed between me and the thing, and
Mm.
the relief that I got because it was my solution. And when we look at it from that perspective, that it was the solution, not the problem,
Mm. You
then
see.
I get to look at what am I using it to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And death by a thousand cuts when you stop doing that, and you've drank for a good 15 years. You have no fucking clue who you are. I didn't. I had no freaking clue. I knew what I did.
Which is not who you are. Oh. Oh my God.
Amazing.
Oh, okay. I'm
I
dying.
zoomed in again. That's amazing.
Good. Oh, my editor Julian's gonna love this. He's gonna be like, "That was great." Um. Okay. No. Okay. So that was we were having a good point there. So it's a rebirth. It's almost like life without alcohol was you were like reborn. Like
Yeah.
or who do you? It's looking
It,
at life through a completely different lens,
and it
right?
was. And it was. It
Yeah.
was looking at life through the lens of my past. Because I clearly did a lot of shit I wasn't proud of.
We all do. Yeah.
And and at some point you have to make peace with it. You don't make peace with it all at once. You make peace with it in little bits and pieces and chunks and whatever. That's why they say connection is the opposite of addiction. Without other people in my life, I would never be where I am right now. Without, and I say this over and over and over again, is strangers saved my life. Strangers don't have the emotional responsibility that family and friends do.
Mm.
You also, if you say something to a stranger and they walk away, what have you lost? Not a hell of a lot compared to if if it was your wife or if it was
Yeah.
your family. Like, you know what I mean? There's so much
Mm-hmm.
emotional tension in our only or in our own family relationships that shame
Yeah.
carries so much more weight than it does when I sit down with you, Brienne, and tell you my story. Because
Totally.
the emotional consequence to me sharing with you is way less than it is when I share it with somebody that I
Yeah.
already have an emotional connection with, that the shame of my poor actions
Mm. Great
bear
point.
consequence to your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you, gosh, there's so much I can say to that. It's almost like when you said shame, you said addiction is the opposite of connection. When I remember thinking when I was in therapy talking about shame, and then my therapist talked about, or then I looked up, I'm like, what is the definition of shame? And Brene Brown, and again, I'm sure there's a million
Love
definitions, but
Brene. Love Brene.
Brene's like my homie. She said, and correct me if I get this right. She said, shame is the fear of disconnection. And I was like, wait, what? Okay. Cause like, it's not just feeling bad. It's like, if you know this about me, you're not going to love me anymore.
Hmm.
I was like, oh my God.
Mic drop.
And then I was like, so if you are honest, and if you're honest and some like you, whoever stays, stays. Like, honesty is important, but like, you can't fear the disconnection. Like, I don't even know what I'm saying.
Right, but you can live in the
Help me out
scarcity.
here.
You can live in the scarcity of what disconnection might give you.
Yes. Like, they're going to reject me if they know the truth.
Hmm. Or you can experience the connection that the truth will give you. And neither one you can control.
There you go.
Right? Like I can't control your perspective of any of my story.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I can't control any of that. I can only hope that you will see me for who I am and see the good in the what I'm
Mm,
doing, or the
yes.
like there's always a benefit or a non a benefit somewhere in any relationship, and eventually you can either pull that elastic band so far where where no one's benefiting and shit snaps, but sitting behind the shame pulls the elastic band farther. There's no
Yes.
opportunity for reconnection when you keep pulling.
But what a beautiful thing that you being my guest, sharing your story, it's resonating with things that I've been through, and we are connecting as a result of the truth that you're sharing with me. We met
Hmm.
today. We followed each other for a week or so, couple weeks, whatever.
Couple weeks, yeah.
But like, we, by you being honest, like, you don't control my reaction, but in this case, like, my reaction is, wow, I'm feeling seen, I'm feeling heard. This is all gonna, like, that truth of you sharing is gonna be heard by people listening, and like, it's actually a beautiful thing coming from, maybe you told yourself, if I tell this, everyone's gonna, and it's like, actually, it's the opposite here, because all these
Hmm.
people are helped. So apparently you were a wrong predictor of the future, and that, you know what I'm saying? Like all
Yeah.
these things you tell yourself so that you don't tell the truth.
Yeah, because back then the truth hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back then when I was telling when I was trying to tell the truth to someone, I felt ashamed and I felt guilted and I felt not good enough. And a lot of the times and a lot of what I ended up doing was just nothing because it felt like no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. That all falls on me. I can blame whomever, but it still falls on me because it the courage to have the hard conversation falls on the person who is having the problem that requires the change.
Mm.
If I don't ever say anything, but I want change to happen, all I get is resentment out of it.
The inaction leads to that resentment. Yeah.
I can't
Mm-hmm.
ask you to know what I'm thinking if I don't tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, like, I was super guilty of that. Super
Mm-hmm.
guilty. Super
For
guilty of
sure.
that. So I I learned to dump my truth out fairly early on because the freedom I started feeling from saying the truth kind of perpetuated itself. That emotional backpack continued to get lighter.
Oh,
I
yes.
started to feel better about myself. I started to get back a little bit more self-confidence. I started seeing the things in my life that were aligned, and I started seeing the things in my life that weren't, and there was a lot of misalignment. Things that
Mm.
I believed in that I just ignored to keep things comfortable. Nice guys finish last was a phrase that I used about myself for a really, really long time. There was a feeling that I never, ever, ever said out loud.
Mm.
I was a yes man through and through for the most part. I figured if I said yes to everything, then I could do no wrong. And what happened there was all I did was lose respect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't learn that until like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, um,
Same. So you found yourself, did you find was there, were the physical withdrawals hard
nasty.
at first? Like
I
really?
didn't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I was very uneducated. I didn't know that uh, physical withdrawal from alcohol, physical dependence to alcohol was a thing, and I didn't know that it could possibly kill you. That was not common knowledge for me.
Yeah.
That being said, I was at the point where like my last year of drinking was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, being so nauseous I would dry heave for 15 minutes to the point where like I would drink water to give myself something to throw up.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Mm-hmm.
disgusting. That was my normal. See what I mean? Like it starts
It's
out as one night a week and then it ends up being six.
yeah.
And so that was the last year and my the first week was atrocious. Absolutely headaches, brain fog. The brain fog lasted almost 3 weeks, but brain fog was nasty. Really, really hard to concentrate and operate. Waking up in puddles of sweat. Like
Mm.
partway through the night, I would change my clothes and sleep on the other side of the bed, and
Yeah.
then wake up again 2 hours later, just as soaked as I was
Drenched.
2 hours before then, and now the entire bed soaked, and then just going back to sleep in cold and soaked stuff.
Because your body's just like,
It's
where
just
it just doesn't know what to do, huh?
no,
It's
it
reorganizing itself. It's trying to figure it out, right?
it is doing its thing. It is screaming inside because I'm not giving it the thing that was keeping it comfortable too. And
Uh-huh.
everything needs to, I mean, I had bruises next to my liver. I would wake up in the morning like
Oh no.
black and blue and purple. Not when I was detoxing, but when I was still like in active addiction, active drinking.
Oh
And
no.
and I all of these signs I continued to ignore. And that's a blood vessel to my liver exploding and throwing up blood and having high blood pressure when I'm, 36 years old and being afraid of seeing the doctor because God forbid I have to lie to him and hopefully he doesn't say I have too big of a problem.
It's just keeping it's just at war with your mind, at war in physically. So you pushed through that withdrawal.
I pushed through the withdrawal, um, TMI, but
No.
whatever. It took like 2.5 to 3 weeks before like my urine changed from that dehydrated yellow
Uh-huh.
to actually clearing up. Like that's how long it took for my body to like rehydrate properly.
It was like a demolition and
It's
or it's
just
like, okay, well, we're not going to live with this substance anymore, so we're going to just
mhm.
like reorganize. We're going to like try to heal as quickly as possible or figure shit out.
After that. I lived on the pink cloud. They call it the pink cloud in recovery. I lived on that sucker for like 4 months. I
And the
had
pink
it.
cloud where you feel great,
Oh yeah,
where you're
like
like, this is fucking amazing.
yeah. Hmm.
I've never felt so fresh and not
I
hungover.
lived on that damn thing. It was like my body was starting to figure itself out. I started feeling better physically. The first main in my first year, I went from 215 pounds to 180 pounds. Like I lost like 35, 40 pounds in the first year, and I ate so much candy it was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But
you like but you were literally like transforming, like internally, externally, like
even
shedding.
shedding both up here,
Yeah.
in here,
Yeah.
and and it was pretty early on where I met this other group in recovery. I joined this online community called I Am Sober, and it was basically like this little, you would just post a post. It's kind of like sober social media, but not really.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But everyone in there had a problem, and you would share your little
And
stories, and
yeah.
people would comment, and then there was a group of people on there that had started up their own recovery meeting, and I got curious one day and I went and visited them to
Yeah.
see what they were about, and I really liked the way they were, their view on life. It wasn't AA, it wasn't a box. I was starting to feel enclosed, but I didn't really have words for it either. But I was starting to feel like controlled by this set of rules that I was supposed to live my life by, that weren't fully aligned with
Yeah.
with my heart. And so I went and visited them, and I started actually swapping my meetings, my AA meetings, with this
With this.
group.
Uh-huh.
And I caught flack from the AA community because that's not recovery, is what I was told. And I was like, okay, well,
It is for me.
it
Or
seems to it's something that I'm interested in. So I did that. I had a sponsor. He was amazing. I won't, like
yeah.
him personally was
Yeah.
whatever works for you, guy. Whatever works for you. If that's what works for
That's what I
you.
feel like. Yeah, like
Um,
recovery looks different for everyone, doesn't it? Or maybe
it
it doesn't. I don't know, but
it
for alcohol
it
specifically.
does. It looks different
Mhm.
for everyone.
Mhm.
Um, but I also, and this is a thing that's going through my mind right now, is terminal uniqueness, and how do we, like, if we end up in the spot of you can say like recovery is unique for everyone, but where do you cross the line to terminal uniqueness and you're just not unhelpable because no one else has experienced the things that I have experienced, and we've
Mhm.
all, you, regardless of whether we've shared different experiences, we've all felt the same emotions.
Yes. Yes. Those core emotions. Yeah.
Right. So
We get
we
there different
we
ways,
have
right?
our humanness that we can still go back to,
Yeah.
that where regardless of where you come from, regardless of what you've been through, regardless of where I come from and what I've been to, we can always relate back to our humanness. So
I love that.
I'm not that different than you,
No.
regardless of my experience. I just need to have the curiosity to find out where to meet.
I love that. We're all playing in the same field almost. It's almost like, and we're all experiencing, that movie Inside Out
Yep.
with the emotions. Like, I
Yep.
was like, wait, I mean, I love it for so many reasons, but I was like,
Yep.
wait, so all of us have these little board of directors, these but they all look different. They all have their little, like, maybe mine would have a little Copa hat and like this coffee, and yours would have your shirt and I'm like, but they're all the same. But the beautiful thing is that we have the uniqueness. But I just love how you put it, that if you're curious enough to find those points. That's so good. I don't know. I'm just
Curiosity
babbling.
and willingness.
You got to go find them. Yeah.
It's,
The
it's it's
willingness.
it's a willingness, right? Like if I show up with the willingness to investigate myself and you too, then we'll figure out where to meet. When I don't have the willingness to listen to you, it is a reflection of my lack of willingness to listen to myself. I can't meet anyone in a spot where I'm not willing to meet myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Mm. So you're doing all this self work. You're finding the places that work for you. You're on the pink cloud. I've never heard that terminology, the pink cloud of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is 4.5 years ago, right? So do you find, and then now you find yourself in this, well, self awareness keeps growing, right?
Yeah.
Throughout those 4.5, take me through the next phase after the pink cloud. Does it drop off where you're like, oh, where's the pink cloud go?
I
Did,
mean,
did,
it dropped off, but in the meantime, I started finding people that I really, really connected with.
hmm.
Julie being one of them. She's the
Yes,
co-host.
your
She's the co.
co-host of your podcast. Yep.
We did it
Oh,
again.
did it do it again?
Yeah.
That was for Julie.
Yeah.
Julie, shout out. Zoom in on
The time
Julie, even though she's not here.
that I'm actually at her house right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that was
Yeah.
a shout out to her. The,
Yeah.
okay. You have the Through the
So
Glass Recovery podcast. Yes.
through the Glass Recovery podcast that is currently going through a rebranding right now,
That we're going to talk
where
about. Yes.
yeah, we can bring that up. We can bring that up at the end. But anyways,
Yes. Go. So you meet
so
Julie.
I met her through that community and a bunch of other people where we were all in the same, about 6 months apart in our sobriety, and we all really connected to sitting up late and talking about all of our shit and investigating where it came from and how it came to be. And we just went down that road. And Julie and I
Yeah.
shared a whole bunch of that stuff to a point where, like, if you end up in a space that is so safe, where, and this is the stuff you can't gift anyone, but if you end up in a space that's so safe where you can just get whatever those weird kind of, we think they're weird and we think they're sideways thoughts and we think they're kind of disgusting. And so, how dare I never say that? But if you end up in a safe space where those words can leave you, I found that they held less and less power over what I was going to do next. The difference between responding and reacting, the difference between showing up to work and snapping back at one of the other leaders and sitting there and waiting to find out what they were going to say, because I realized that I was making myself emotionally responsible for their reactions. So I was framing things for them to fall my way, and I would never see what someone else's reaction or response would be, because that is terrifying. So, and this was one of the things that I did within my first year. I found myself saying sorry for everything. I apologize. It was a word that fell out of my mouth, and a lot of my change early on came from being frustrated with doing the same stupid shit over and over again and not knowing how to do it any differently. Sorry was one of them. Why did I always leave these conversations feeling like I was responsible for the thing that happened, or the thing that was wrong, that happened that was wrong? It was because I took ownership for it by apologizing. So I decided that I would write my own definition of sorry. And I wrote this down in my own journal entry. And I was like, this is what sorry is going to mean to me from here on out. So I stopped apologizing for shit that I didn't need to apologize for. And it was weird as hell because it created this really awkward silence. Really awkward silence. I'm like, now what do I say? Now what do I do? I'm like, I have to find a whole brand new language for just having conversation and just relating to people and then listening to them. It's like, this is weird. Anyways, my level
But
of self. Go ahead.
I was saying it's probably you don't have to like fill the air. Like I can relate to that so much. The why I'm not gonna I apologize all the damn time. Sorry,
Mhm.
sorry, sorry. And I'm like, what? I even catch myself too in text being like, oh sorry. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, no.
You make yourself small. You
Stop.
minimize yourself.
Yes.
With every apology that isn't necessary is a
Yes.
minimization of oneself to keep things comfortable for you,
Mm,
not for them,
yes.
not for them.
Because then if it's on me, you don't have to do anything. Like
Right.
it's fine. I'll take it. I'll put it in my backpack. I
Mm-hmm.
got it's heavy already, but I'll put it so you don't have to put it in yours.
Yeah.
No, you put it in yours. You deal with it.
If
Or
if
if
it's
it's
there,
yours.
but I mean, why not be open to the conversation to see where it belongs? But if I just have
Oh,
constantly apologized for it, then I just get to take the responsibility for it, even if I don't want it. And
right. Because
then what?
I fear your reaction if I
Yep.
don't take responsibility for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for me to like bear that than you to be unhappy with me or mad at me or like it's gonna be weird.
Conflict avoidance.
Yes. But when you start to heal and become self-aware, it's not it's not really conflict. It's like I want to be on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
It's so different. It's like it's going to be maybe that first 30 seconds, but like that 30 seconds of being uncomfortable or we can just be fake and carry this weirdness. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm resenting you from afar anyway.
Right.
So why don't I just tell you what's bothering me? Oh my gosh. You're like healing my life right now. I'm like, I'm like, that's yeah, it's just literally like, well, how do they know if you don't tell them? Because you're too much of a weakling to have the conversation right now. So go grow some courage and go have the conversation. Like
How
that's my
often,
inner
though,
dialogue.
did you use resentment as your blanket?
Oh, oh
Like a
yeah.
lot,
That's where I don't have you avoid yeah. You just
right?
stew about it.
And it's keeping me warm and it's giving me purpose.
Yeah, you're right. It's really a waste. Yeah. I
It
actually had
is.
talked about that with my therapist once. I had resentment towards somebody and like
Hmm.
she was like, "Well, like why can't you have that conversation?" You know, and I was like, "I totally can. I can. I'm just that person is totally approachable and like really so I'm like, it's all me. Like they don't even know. And it ended up I ended up doing some discovery work on myself and being like, you're not this is all about needing validation from this person that you're not getting. And so you're
Right.
resenting it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, you're really creating this whole story, Brie. And this person, like, it's actually, I was like laughing after. I'm like, okay, yeah, I just had a whole story in my head, and then, but it's actually not true. And I actually love them, and I actually just need them to validate me because I'm still not totally validate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And here's the funny
sorry.
part: if they're a safe person, you can actually say, "Hey, listen, here's the story that I'm telling myself," and you're
That's a
not
great.
projecting it on them when you say that,
That's a
because
great way to
you say, "Here's the story that I'm telling myself." It's vulnerable as hell,
help
but
me understand. Like, help
but
me.
here's the story I'm telling myself based off of this situation. And if that person is a safe person, then
You
you
can.
get an amazing conversation out of it. You get to hear their
Mhm.
truth.
Yes. Oh my
Then
gosh.
you get to correct the story you tell yourself in a healthy way.
And you're not
Here's what
accusing them of
nothing.
anything. Oh my gosh. That's
When you say that,
that's
you bear the responsibility for the story.
here's the story. I'm gonna use that with everyone that I tell stories about in my head. No, that's really brilliant because you're coming authentically. You're saying, here's you're having an internal struggle. Like I'm
Hmm.
having an internal struggle and I want to repair it with you. And like maybe this is all yeah, I really, really like that. So it seems like you can't really get you have to have the self-awareness to be like, okay, I tell myself stories. We all tell ourselves stories. That's
Hmm.
okay. Just how can we fix it? How can we get the truth of it?
Yeah, like
Right?
where uh, if you recognize that it is just a story and it isn't the truth, then I mean, even when you
Powerful.
have that conversation, like anxiety, that's the birthplace of anxiety.
Mm,
Is that the future? That's it. That's it.
mhm.
That every story we tell ourselves, right, is
Totally.
something we don't know. We're
It's
guessing.
something we don't know. And we fill in the gaps by telling the story to ourselves. Like our brain wants to make sense of it when really you can clarify the story by like a very heartfelt conversation.
Hmm.
And then if there's not a good response to that, perhaps I mean, you got to evaluate who is psychologically safe. We were just talking about that at work too. Psychological safety at work, at home, with friends. It's everything, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about your podcast. Speaking of psychological safety, that is a psychological safe place to talk about all the things, right? Sobriety podcast. I'm looking at it here. Through the Glass Recovery Podcast.
Yep. Right now, it's going through a rebrand, and it's going to be rebranded to No Alcohol Needed.
Okay.
Um, and it's a version of our growth. So
Yep.
part of my growth, part of what really helped me in my recovery, and Julie as well as a co-host,
Yeah.
where we met in meetings where somebody gave us a topic, and even if there was 15 or 20 people at the meeting, we after the topic was presented, we went out into breakout rooms of groups of 4 or 5. It was a
Yeah.
way more intimate conversation, a way more. That's where we grew. That's where our recovery. We went from like little baby sober people to started growing up into our recovery and figuring out our
Yeah.
shit, giving
Hmm.
ourselves the freedom we needed to change those unhealthy coping mechanisms to something that would work without the desire to drink,
Mm.
without the
Hmm.
desire to remove the discomfort.
Mm.
So the podcast is a reflection of essentially those meetings. We present a topic, we invite 2 to 3 guests, so
Uh-huh.
like a breakout room, to have
Yeah.
a conversation about a topic related to recovery and emotional intelligence or something along those lines. Because what we've learned is that if I get to know myself and I get to know my nasty habits and I get to know my good ones and I get to know all of these things about me and how I respond and how do I find the language to express myself in an emotionally healthy way. My goal was to put so much distance between me and a bottle, right? And the distance was emotional distance. If I could put
Beautiful.
myself, if I could turn around and if I could figure out how to have an emotionally healthy reaction to what happens in my life, I am not going to desire my old habit anymore.
So well said. Again, that analogy, not just the physical distance from the bottle, the emotional distance. Wow. It
I could
makes so much sense the way you're saying it. That if you are able to cope with life, you have an emotional distance, it's not something you desire genuinely.
right.
Not because you shouldn't, because you know it's not going, you just know it's
I have
not what
plenty
you
of
do.
experience that says it doesn't work.
You've investigated it thoroughly.
Yeah,
You
right. I've got
know.
all the evidence in the world.
And so it becomes, you want to go, it's about not just, oh, I'm not drinking and I'm resisting the urges, to like, oh, I'm over here now. Like, that's not even in my stratosphere. Like, that's not what I go to.
If I continue to just go urge, resist, I'm just going to sit at urge, resist. If I
Yeah.
say urge, what is the root of urge? Then I can look at what's sitting behind here so I don't have to fight the resistance. And then I can move myself another level farther. And so this is how I kind of like see this in my brain was, I started out this close to a drink,
Uh
right?
huh.
And that's white knuckling the crap out of it. And then as I got more emotionally healthy and I started figuring out my whats and my whys and the ifs and the ands and then doing something about it, trying something new, then I could put myself farther and farther away from it. And so if I had something detrimental happen
Mm hmm.
and I got closer, I still wasn't there. And then so I would get closer, and then I would get farther away, and then get closer, and then get farther away, and then go closer, and then farther away. And then soon you just get far enough away that it's not a thing I do anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like
So
that's
good.
that has been like the goal. If I can have an emotionally healthy reaction, response, not a reaction,
Mm-hmm.
to what happens in my life, then maybe, just maybe, it's not going to be a thing I do anymore. And so, like, back to the podcast, that is a lot of it is emotional intelligence and sharing a story based on the topic that was the experience. And so the rebrand right now is going to a point because Julie and I both believe we don't need alcohol, we don't need escape to live a really amazing freaking life, because now you're going to get to experience it in all of the colors, in all
Mm.
of the emotions, in all of the
Mhm.
things. And I get to experience my connection with you, with her, with any
Yeah,
other friends in as real a way as possible,
I
because
love
I'm
it.
not going to use anything to separate, to put a layer between me and you.
Another great analogy. Gosh, so good. I feel like that is a great place to, before I like ramble and lose what you just said, that is such a good place to kind of push pause, because I would love to in the future have you come back as well, and maybe Julie can come back. Would love to just, I've talked a little bit about on the podcast about recovery from addiction and all of that, which is, I just, especially with alcohol, more and
Yep.
more people just being like, wait, why am I doing this? Is this,
Yeah.
what the hell is in this? This is really bad. Like I saw another one of your reels where I'm like, oh shit, that's it's not good. Like it's really bad for you. Like the world
Yeah.
is waking up to the badness of the
It is.
physical things as well. It seems like. Um, so would love to welcome you and Julie back, in the future if that ever would be something. But I wanted to thank you for being so real, so authentic about your recovery. I think I know people listening have struggle with alcohol, but even more so than that, it's the root, right? Like you were talking about it. That's what you used, right? And if anyone listening to this is going through the human emotions, I know that they're going to feel less alone listening to this, because we're all navigating them. It's like we're all navigating them daily, every moment. So I just love that you guys have a podcast where you're keeping it real, and so much respect for you. And like, congratulations again on your recovery and like everything you're doing to help people recover, which is a ripple effect to all the people that they then interact with. It gives me chills. Like, you're literally changing the course of people's lives by having this conversation. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Anything else that you want to leave? I'm going to put in the show notes a link to your podcast, link to your Instagram, website, all the things. Any anything you want to say, as a parting I don't know. See, this is where I ramble. I need to work on my endings. Is there
You
anything
need,
you'd like to say
need to
before
figure it
we
out.
go?
The other thing I do have is a men's mental health podcast called Forged in Silence. I'm going to shamelessly
Yes.
plug that one there. I started that up with a friend,
That's
and
yes.
what we wanted to do was try and create a space where we talk about the issues men face, but rarely talk about. There's right now, there's it almost feels like there's this battle of between men and women and masculinity and femininity and patriarchy and all the rest of the BS that we have that's going on. And and what we want to try and do is create a space for where men feel safe, that they can talk about what it is on their mind, because both Robbie and I, we suffered in silence for a really long time, and we didn't talk about the things that we needed to talk about, and we're both living
Yes.
way better lives today because we found those spaces. So what we want to do
Yes.
is say that it's okay to talk
Yeah.
as a man,
Yeah.
and it's okay to share your emotions, and it's okay to try and figure those out,
Yep.
because suicide rate is super high.
It's like
And it,
it's higher men,
yeah,
for
men, it's
sure.
super high,
Men.
and
Yeah.
it's because we're not talking.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
need safe spaces. We need other men to be like, you know what, I can sit here and handle your stuff with you,
Yeah.
and
It's actually
be all right. And so that's Forged in Silence. We
forward
actually,
sounds.
yeah, Forged in Silence podcast, we're on YouTube there too. But You
Yeah.
know, if there's, I don't think there's any parting words of wisdom or whatever that may be. I think finding a place where you can try and share any bit of honesty in real life and your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I'm going to get a little teary here. But I
Oh.
think that's the one of the things that I was so afraid to share that I love about myself now.
You can feel that you have a big heart too, like, and how beautiful that all of that is not like buried in, you know, like self-medicating, because like that can show. It's probably beautiful and you're getting emotional. I know I get emotional when I talk about, you see like how beautiful it feels to like be real,
Yeah,
and then you start to go, wow, I told myself, I really love that about myself.
yeah.
And
It's super cool.
it's really cool. That's like chills over here. And thank you for sharing your heart with me. And I feel like we're going to be connected for a while after this. So
Sounds great.
really appreciate it.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Have an awesome weekend, Steve. And I'll be messaging you soon.
Sounds
You
good.
know.
Thanks for having me on, Brie. I really appreciate it.